Hi, today we will explain the plot of the movie titled Yes God Yes, which was released in 2019.
Alice?
So, let's get straight to the storyline. A girl named Alice attended a high school with very strict religious rules. When Alice just entered the school building, she could immediately see her teacher named Veda disciplining students who violated the rules, but Alice seemed to be a disciplined student who never got a reprimand. Alice and her classmates get a class that provides sexual education that emphasizes the religious side. The teacher in the class is a priest named Murphy who also often listens to confessions from his students. In the class, Murphy emphasized that they should not have sex before marriage.
God is always watching. Receive the sacrament of matrimony. God calls on.
At the school, Alice had a friend named Laura. They seemed to be quite close and often shared stories. Shortly afterward, Alice returns home and is greeted by Gus, her dog. After getting some food from the kitchen, Alice went into her room and got online on the computer. Alice apparently enjoyed playing online games with other internet users. She was playing Word Shuffle. When she had only been playing for a while, Alice received a chat from an unknown email. Alice then opened it and the person claimed to have seen Alice from the chat room earlier. The person sent her a pornographic picture of him and his wife. Alice was very surprised after seeing the picture, plus the person even offered another picture. Alice, who was confused but curious, called her mother to make sure her mother was not there. After her mother did not answer her call, Alice started chatting with the person.
Mom?
The person initially asked about age, gender, and place of residence. Alice answered them. After that, the person asked for a photo of Alice. Alice then saw a photo of her with a woman. Alice then folded the photo and scanned it. Alice then sent the photo of the woman she was with.
Yes.
After getting the photo, the stranger complimented her on her beauty. He then offered to have cyber sex, and the innocent Alice agreed. He started sending her lewd sentences and asked her to reply. She did, and she was willing to do what he said. Just as she was about to start, her mom called for dinner and Alice immediately shut down her computer.
Alice? Dinner.
The next day, Alice was picked up by her friends to go to school. One of them was Laura, and they said that there was a rumor that Alice was alone in the sauna with Wade. Alice immediately denied the rumor, but it seemed that she was a little interested in Wade.
This up. We're going to start with Galatians.
At school, when Alice was eating with Laura, they were visited by a woman named Beth. Beth claimed to have participated in the retreat activities held by the school, and she seemed very satisfied with the activities. Beth was wearing a necklace that she said was given to her during the retreat. After encouraging Alice and Laura to join the retreat, Beth went to lunch with Nina's group, who seemed to be a popular girl.
You're saying you tossed his salad.
What? Where were you this weekend? You didn't come to my party.
Coming back?
After the conversation, Alice went to get milk and she bumped into Wade, who was holding hands with Heather. When Alice greeted them, they looked disgusted and left Alice. Shortly afterward, Alice participated in a religious ritual with other students. Usually Alice is always the one who brings the offerings, but now Veda assigned Heather to do it instead. Veda apparently did it because she heard the gossip about Alice and Wade. Alice became jealous, and that's when she saw Heather already wearing the same necklace as Beth, which meant Heather had attended the retreat.
If you want to continue to be a gift bearer, you have to conduct.
Shortly after, the event was held again and Alice followed. Arriving at the location, Alice saw Murphy and several students who were the leaders of the group, including Nina, and Laura seemed to admire her. At that time, Alice saw a man who caught her attention. She then asked Laura, and it turned out to be Chris.
It's Chris, he's only like the start.
While watching Chris, Nina came and invited Alice to her cabin because she was apparently placed in Nina's cabin. Nina seemed very friendly and smiling. She asked Alice for her watch and cell phone as they would be confiscated during the event. Alice gave her watch, but she hid her cell phone.
Find the room with your name on the door. No phone? Okay.
When the first event started, they were all divided into groups. Alice was in group 1, which was chaired by Chris, and that made her very happy. After everyone was seated in their respective groups, Murphy began to lead the event and started the agenda. The activities continued, and after lunch there was a confessional session that one person did in front of everyone. It was Nina who came forward and she told her sad story. Many people were touched by the story, but some didn't pay attention and drew a cat instead.
And that I had 3 broken ribs for Science Bowl Nationals.
At night, Alice, who couldn't sleep, played games, but eventually she became interested in playing with herself. The next day, the program started again. The morning began with forming a circle and singing together, after which they went out into nature to contemplate God's creation. At that time Alice saw Chris behind her surrounded by many girls. One of the girls near Chris fell down and he immediately helped her. Seeing that, Alice didn't seem happy, but she came up with an idea. Alice then deliberately dropped herself until her leg was injured.
So I said I could show her how I do it. Oh my God!
Chris, who cares about everyone, went over to her and was shocked to see Alice's leg was injured. Chris then helped her up, but Alice said she couldn't do it, so Chris carried her and took her to the clinic. Alice seemed happy that her plan had worked. Some time later, when Alice was in the room, she checked her cell phone but immediately put it in the closet because someone came. It turned out to be Nina, who informed her that they would take a picture together. At that time, Nina heard something and she also checked into the closet. Nina then found Alice's cell phone and brought it to complain to Murphy. After that, they all went outside for a group photo.
Chris, could you come in please?
After finishing the photo, Alice was called by Murphy, who immediately discussed about her cell phone. Alice was given a punishment to make up for her mistake. The punishment was given by a nun, and the first was that Alice had to clean the trash can. After cleaning the trash can, she proceeded to mop the room. After finishing mopping, Alice then put her tools into storage, which happened to be close to Murphy's room, which was not occupied at the time. Alice then noticed Murphy's computer and she secretly used it. Alice opened the general chat room on the computer to ask questions that became the joke of her friends, but it seems that the person asked instead replied to her chat with perverted sentences. Shortly after, Alice heard someone coming, and she quickly turned off the computer, but Alice did not realize that the computer was not yet off. In the evening, the agenda continued with reading letters from the students' parents.
Kiss you on both of your cheeks at exactly the same time, and the best church partner a father could ask for.
The next day, their agenda was to talk to each other in the group. Alice, who was in group 1, gathered with Chris and others. At that time, one of her group mates told her about her grandmother who died and her dog who had been abandoned by her grandmother. She then cried and looked very devastated, but Alice didn't think it was a sad thing and instead felt strange. After everyone had told their stories, Chris then looked at Alice to tell her story. Alice, who was confused about what to say, instead made up a story about her dog, that her dog was dead, even though in reality Gus was still alive.
My family was playing basketball in our driveway.
During lunch, a disappointed Murphy announces that his computer has been used by someone to chat with other people. He wants the culprit to confess, but of course Alice, who did it, pretends not to know.
Earlier this morning I found something rather disturbing on my own, but in keeping with the theme of this retreat...
The agenda goes on, and as Alice continues her punishment for mopping the floor, she meets Wade, who doesn't seem to like her. Alice then discusses the gossip about them, and they fight. Alice was upset that Wade didn't refute the rumor, and Wade was upset that because of the rumor he broke up with Heather. As Wade leaves, it seems that he threw away the wristband with Heather on it, and Alice took the wristband with her. Alice then proceeded to mop another room. At that time, she accidentally saw Nina making out and giving a blowjob to Adam, who was a fellow group leader. Alice then told Laura, but Laura, who really admired Nina, immediately did not believe it and cornered Alice. Laura apparently knew that Alice had made up the story about Gus's death and thought Alice was telling a lot of lies to get attention.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anything to say and everyone had... You were the one in Father's office, weren't you?
Shortly after, Alice resumed her cleaning duties and found that there was no one in Murphy's room. Alice kept Wade's bracelet under Murphy's computer, but Alice couldn't leave because Murphy arrived. Alice, who was hiding, then waited for the right moment to escape, but at that time she saw Murphy watching porn. When she escaped from there, Alice met Chris and Chris asked her to talk because he saw Alice, who was depressed. While together, Alice kissed Chris so that he was embarrassed and scared. Chris ran away and avoided Alice. At night, there was a sing-along scheduled, but Alice, who had seen the misbehavior of the people, became visibly upset and left. Alice kept walking until she found a bar and entered it. Inside, Alice ordered a drink and looked very tired. A woman who was nearby immediately knew Alice was a member of the Catholic youth retreat from the clothes she was wearing. The woman then gave advice that made Alice relieved. Then she drove Alice back to the retreat place. Before parting, the woman, who turned out to be the owner of the bar, had suggested that Alice study in the East and West Coast areas.
It means licking someone's
The next day during lunch, Alice saw Murphy, who called Wade to talk to him. Soon, the confessions and confessionals began. Previously, Laura approached Alice and apologized for making accusations. Apparently it was already spread that the one who used Murphy's computer was Wade, and Wade was actually gay. He was thought to be covering it up by dating Heather and making gossip with Alice.
It was Wade who used Father's computer.
When the confessional begins, Wade comes forward and confesses to having been seduced by lust. Alice saw Wade's very distressed expression, and she came forward to express what she was thinking. Alice's words were apparently not taken well by the people, and she stepped down from the podium in resignation. Soon after, the retreat was over, they all went home and Alice was still attending church with her father, but now she was not as enthusiastic as before. When entering school, Alice met Chris, who was immediately awkward and tried to run away, but once she saw Chris's behavior, Alice immediately approached him and promised that the things she had done to Chris would not happen again. Alice then invited them to be friends again, and now Chris is back to normal. That day was apparently Alice's schedule to make a confession to Murphy. Alice then said that during the retreat, she had seen a sex video. Alice then explained the details of the video, which was a video that Murphy watched secretly. After hearing that, Murphy seemed awkward and did not give Alice a severe punishment. Alice also didn't seem to be as unstable as before. Now she had decided what she wanted, such as going to universities on the West and East Coasts. Other than that, Alice is living her life the way she wanted.